Hi, I'm Lauren from LSP Actions. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to apply one of our torn paper overlays by hand in Photoshop and change the colour and add some masking to really adapt this to your image, and how you can get the subject peeking out of your overlay too. So let's dive in. For the tutorials using the actions, which makes things a little faster and quicker, with all the done for you layers, you can watch the other video tutorials in this series. This tutorial is showing you how to do this by hand. So what you need to do is first download the LSP torn paper overlays from the website, unzip the files, locate them on your computer. Next up, I'm going to come to File and choose Place Embedded and choose the overlay that you want to add to your image. Now don't worry about the colour because I'm going to show you how to change it. We're thinking about shade. This is a very kind of mid to light shade, so I'm not going to choose a dark colour. I'm going to choose a medium colour, not too light, not too dark. For this image we need a Goldilocks colour. So yes, it's bright pink, but that's okay because these are super easy to change. That's kind of the point of them. So I'm just going to adapt this to fit our image and look at the direction of the light, and our subject is coming kind of from top camera right. So I'm just going to rotate this overlay just a little and just add this in. Move it around just a touch. I'm not too worried about the edges because we can fill them in a bit. And double click and you've added the layer in. At this stage I really recommend adding a layer mask. So when you've got your overlay selected in the layers panel, hit layer mask down the bottom. It's a rectangle with a circle in. White means show and black means hide. Right now it's white so we can see it. So let's add a colour change layer. There are several ways you can add a colour change layer. Let me show you first the more standard way. So on your adjustments you have a half and half circle. I'm going to click this and choose hue and saturation. Now if I slide this, we're changing the colours in the whole image. So at this stage you want to right click, create a clipping mask, and that is going to make this little arrow clipped into your overlay, so you're only changing the colours of the overlay. So I'm going to just grab where it says master and we can just drag this around and you can see we're changing the colour. You might want to change it to a blue tone to match the t-shirt. You might want to change it to something completely different, so we've got kind of this kind of jazzy different toned effect. Or you might want to slide it and match it mostly with the background. I'm going to hide that and show you another way to colour change, the way I prefer. So you come down on your your adjustments here and you add a solid colour layer. This is just going to take over your whole screen. So just choose any colour and hit OK. Right click, create a clipping mask, make sure it's clipping into the correct overlay. And up here where it says normal, this is your blend mode, we're going to come down to colour. And this is only going to change the colour of the overlay. So now we can double click and you get a sampler box. So you can sample an area in your image. We could go for this one, we could go for blue, we could go for green. Or we could go for something, you know, completely different. How about like an orange or something? Just to kind of go in and blend with those tones. You can play with how intense or how muted the colour is, but it's only affecting the colour, it's not affecting the lightness or the darkness, which is why I recommend choosing your overlay based on toning, not on colour. I think for this, let's go blue to match the blue in his t-shirt. Okay, just get something super different coming up. I'm going to click on the crop tool. Let's go for a, we could go for a standard kind of portrait crop. I'm going to use a 7x5 standard. You might be using a 3x2. And let's just crop this in a little bit. Okay. And you can see here down the bottom we have some areas to fix, but that's okay. I'll show you how. The main thing I want to do though is select these hands so they're kind of popping out of the image. On your torn paper, you can click on the layer mask that you've added in. Remember, if you haven't, you click add a layer mask down here, rectangle with a circle in. If you're in an old version of Photoshop, you can grab a brush set to black. I mean, it's quite small. And we can start masking by using black to show underneath. Black is hiding the overlay basically to show the layers underneath. And white to paint it in. So I'm just basically selecting these areas. And now we can get more detailed, so I can grab a white brush, make it really hard because this is not a blurry selection, it's a hard paint line we need to do, you see there? So I can just manually and carefully start painting. I recommend just painting small areas, and if you get it wrong you can just switch your brush back to black or back to white, going all the way around. That is if you're in an old version of Photoshop. In Photoshop you can hit X on your keyboard and that switches between black and white. I find that a lot easier when I'm masking. But what we're going to do, because we're in Photoshop Creative Cloud, is we're just going to click on your background, select, subject. We're going to use the inbuilt tools for selection here. That's given us a great selection. If you're trying to select hair or anything and you see that it perhaps hasn't selected perfectly, you can come up to select and mask. Use the refine edge tool just to kind of come around and refine any areas of fluff, fur, any softness, and hit OK. That's just a little tip, we don't need it for this particular one. So now we have our subject selected. You can click on your torn paper that you've added in, click on the overlay mask, the layer mask, grab your brush, set to black. Because we've got marching ants, we can literally just go over like this and the selection is done for you. And there we go. Now we have our subject peeking out of the background. If at this stage you decide that you want to change the location of the paper, you can simply unlink your layer mask if you've already masked it in by clicking the little chain icon. And now if you click on your overlay, let's grab the move tool. You can be moving this around and it's not affecting that masking. You can Control or Command T to resize this. So you might want it kind of really closely resized like this one. Entirely whatever you want to do. These are really flexible and really good fun to play with. I quite like that one. But now of course we have a lot of subject left around the edge. So here's what I would do to fix this. I would come to the top of the layers panel, select all, edit, copy merged, and then edit paste. And what that's going to do is going to paste a merged version of our image. I'm going to hit C for crop, and now we're going to probably want to change our crop to a landscape. Make sure all your subject is inside and selected. It really does how you crop this and how you deal with it does really just depend on the kind of the ratio of your image. And now I'm going to grab the polygonal lasso tool, straight lines, and I'm just going to draw around everything that shouldn't be there. If you're using the latest version of Photoshop Creative Cloud, you can use Generative Fill here, but I'm going to come up to Edit, Fill. I'm using Content Aware, and hit OK, and let's see how well this does. It might do great, it might not, you never quite know with Photoshop. I think that's done a brilliant job. And now we have our image, so we've gone from this to this. Really, really cool. And you can, you can continue cropping, you can tweak and change. You can edit this exactly how you need to edit this. And the really good thing is it's really flexible, and once you kind of know your techniques, you can just come in super fast and make these changes. You can do them without even thinking. It's kind of like driving a car or eating chocolate. Before you know it, you've kind of done it. So I'm just selecting these little areas here, and again I'm going to go Edit, Edit, Fill, and then Content Aware as the contents. So we just deselect that. So we're good to go. So I hope that tutorial's helped. There are so many things you can do with these, so many fun ways you can play with these overlays. Do watch the other tutorials and look on our Facebook group for inspiration. Loads you can do. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.